Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
So when I was working on Selena, the series for Netflix, to play the role of Abraham Quintanilla, I put on a specific amount of weight, which I was fine doing, but also realizing it could be difficult to get that weight off. I got back into my physical regimen with James Leja, but I was still having trouble with just those last amounts. And that's when I got to meet Arturo from Laredo Medical Weight Loss Clinic. And just the products that he gave me kind of put me over the edge. I feel great about myself.
Hi, I'm Don McLaughlin. I'm a candidate for House District 80, which consists of Webb County, Uvalde County, Dimmitt County, Zavala County, Frio County, and Atascosa County. I'm also a small businessman, and I know what it takes to run a small business. And for too long, we've had too much government regulation coming into our small business and making it tougher and tougher for us to survive and get by. And that's one of the things I hope to change. Small business is the backbone of the state of Texas, and we need to make sure it thrives and that they have the support they need in government and less government regulation.
Back at you, Gloves Off, and I got a great guest that's running for Laredo College board. It's Lizzy Newsome. How are we doing today?
Good, thank you. A little bit of my voice is a little raspy from cheering.
Well, you're out there trying to get elected, so that's something that comes with
The territory.
That comes with the territory. It's part of the game. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
About myself, like my...
Yes, about a little bit of history. What do you do? What have you done?
So I am an educator. I've been an educator for 27 years now. Approximately 20 of those have been in administration. I've been an elementary assistant principal, a middle school principal at Memorial Middle and Christian Middle, and high school principal at the Martin, Cantu Early College. It was Magnet back then.
The Magnet School?
Yes, principal at Valdez High School, and yes, that's all LISD. I was a teacher at Martin High School. That's where it all began. I graduated from United, but Martin, once a tiger, always a tiger. So
I went to United. I came from United, a product of UISD. But I graduated in Martin because everybody was graduating, all my cousins and everybody, so we all wanted to graduate together. So the last month I transferred over, and people go, "You went to Martin?" And I was only there for one class, but yeah.
But you're still, you're still a tiger, right?
so people always say, "What reunion are you going to go to?" I never happened.
Both.
And I go,
Both.
why do I need to go to a reunion if we see everybody most every day?
That's true.
So it's fun, but they're good people. It's good to be back in Laredo. That's the way I look at it. Been here since 2000, but tell me, running is a big step for public office. What got you to run, or why did you say, you know what, it's time for me to put my name on a dotted line to run?
I've always wanted to do, either city government, county politics, ever since I was in, elementary. There was always some office, something that I could do all throughout middle school. I was a class officer, and all throughout high school, all the way up to my senior year, every year, and every different club organization, if there was an office I could run for. And to this day, I'm still very involved. Speaking of reunions, right? I still take part in I still hold that it's important to me. You know, I dedicated myself to that. You know, I was a class officer in my senior year, and so even if it's, you know, 30, 40 years later, every 5 years, you know, I'm still actively involved. And so it was just something that I always enjoyed in different clubs and organizations, like I said, from elementary on and through high school. And it's always been there in the back of my mind, like it's something that I want to do. This is just like a citywide type of election position even, and it's nonpartisan. But why this and why so last minute? You know, people say, well, did you do this to? No, it really was just last minute. Being at the high school, I get to see firsthand on a daily basis what the struggles are for economically disadvantaged students and their families. First generation, if they're going to go, first generation college goers, and the struggle there. You know, there's a lot of very fortunate families and fortunate students that, you know, have the family backup, but then there is 3/4 of Laredo, you know, and to me it's like, why aren't they going? Why aren't students getting education? We've got brilliant kids and they don't end up going, and I see the disconnect, and it was something that came at the last minute, like, you know what, there's some openings, there's, you know, some of these positions that are going to be up for election, you know, we should try it out. And I only did it because of the bridging of this gap that I see from the high school to the college. I've been involved with dual enrollment as well, where, you know, the kids are in high school and are in the college, and there's just a lot of there's some gaps that need to be filled. I think closing those gaps, streamlining mainly for the parents and the students, would help a lot of these students to go that aren't going, and it's not necessarily the fault of the people that are there, because then, and I want to make that clear, because I deal with, you know, the employees from Laredo College. That's the college that I deal with, the high schools that I'm at and I'm currently at. Recruitment, advising, counseling, financial aid, outreach, you know, you know, assessment. Those are all dual enrollment. Those are all departments that I'm actively involved with, and I see that they're stretched thin. I mean, if you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of juniors and seniors any given year, and you've got a department of 3, 4, 5, how are you going to go service all the schools and all the, you know, all the students that need the help and all the parents? And so to some people, something like, oh, filling out a financial aid form is no big deal, it's easy. But to other families and students, it is a big deal. And if that's something that's going to prevent them from going, and we need more resources and personnel, then, well, those are the things that I see, and why I would want to do this. The other thing also, Laredo College is my stomping grounds. I mean, that's my alma mater. That's where I started my all my education, you know, my career. It started there, and so I hold that school very dear to my heart. I love that school. And I take my kids on a field trip every year. And I mainly take them to the vocational programs to start there. You know, I know there's some students that are not going to do a 2-year, 4-year, 6-year. You don't have to. There's a ton of certification programs, you know. We're always going to need the vocations. We're always going to need the trades. We're always going to need students with or people with certifications, right? Services, you know, service. And the energy is just not the same. The campus culture, the climate, it's just not the same. And so that's also something that I felt that I could bring, you know, my energy and to help the campus climate and the campus culture.
So those are some great points. And we'll touch base on those because you've mentioned a lot. And as you're talking about the culture of the campus, it's changed. I used to teach there. I taught there for several years. I was an adjunct instructor, and I taught Savat in the kinesiology department. And I saw a lot of stuff that went in there that shouldn't have been. I understand what you're talking about with when you get kids that cannot do financial aid or do not have financial aid. There's a lot of struggles in there. I did a little research on Laredo a little while back, and the percentages that we have in the workforce. We have 0.8% manufacturing jobs. Right? It's nothing. And everybody continues to cater to the import-export, thinking that's going to be our savior. But they forget one thing: Mexico's doing a huge railroad operation that's going to connect the Pacific with the Gulf of Mexico, and they're going to bypass everybody. China and everybody else are going to bypass it. So I want to find out who's going to be the next port. Is it going to be Brownsville, Corpus, Galveston, New Orleans? Where's it going to go? So Laredo's not going to be that. It's still going to have its trucks coming in, but not as much once it bypasses that. So we need to be very, very careful on how we're going. And I think institutions like LC, TAMU, all the other vocational schools that are here, they bring to light what the city and the communities need. So we need to start working on that. We have a police academy there that's been there for a long time. But we also have so many different departments of police here. So you're going to get hired that way. We need, there's a tremendous nursing school there. It's a tremendous school for nursing. And so where are we lacking? You talk about vocations. There's several major industries in Texas. One is oil and gas. Second is ranch and farming, the other import-export. But what's the fourth? Hunting. We have no taxidermy schools here. I don't know why the college hasn't brought in a taxidermy school to start producing. Everybody hunts. I mean, if you look around the wall, there's a lot of taxidermy just in this one place. Yeah. And people need to see what we're looking at, what we're bringing in. I think this new president that we have there, Ms. Ramirez, has done a tremendous job.
Yes.
Bringing in and building that facility to bringing in admissions into it. I think she's changing it in comparison to the other presidents over there before. So I was there when there were two others, Maldonado and Dovalina, and it was kind of stagnant. It was and so you had a lot of, how can I say, teachers that really didn't want to teach, or they thought they were being forced to teach. You understand what I'm saying? The morale wasn't there. I don't know about that now, but I think it's what they've done to bring in more students. When you have more students, you as an instructor want to teach more, right?
Yes.
And I think that's one great advantage that we have there, that it's changing. I've seen the dynamics changing. How would you change? You mentioned the assistance for financial aid and to get people in college. Would you try to expand that or try to push that? How?
Well, before I talk about that, I also forgot to mention one very important thing. I would like to reintroduce the sports programs. They completely obliterated, like, all of them. They had at least 6 different sports programs, for males and females. And so to me, that's taking away enrollment possibilities and students going and studying there, and scholarship opportunities. And so that's one thing also that would help with the campus climate and culture. But Laredo is huge, soccer, huge baseball. I mean, Laredo loves baseball. Volleyball, we've got a lot of tremendous athletes here, and to just completely kill off all of the sports programs, that's something that I would like to look at and reintroduce. Maybe not all of them at the same time. And obviously, you just can't go in there and say, "Hey, put them all back." There's budgets, there's reason, but that's robbing a lot of our kids opportunities, for them to continue to do what they love to do, and at the same time study and get educated, and possibly even get scholarships to go to school, so and play. And so I think that's also something that need. I mean, I listen to the community. I talk to a lot of people when I started doing this, block walking or anywhere I go. And if I run into a parent or student, I'll ask them a simple question: if you could change one thing about Laredo College, that's one of the biggest.
Is the sports? Do we have a kinesiology department, or is that gone?
No, there is. There's kinesiology courses, right? So I'm assuming that there is a department, because there's courses. I couldn't answer on that. Like, I couldn't tell you exactly how many departments and which departments. I don't know all that information. I just know that there are no sports programs, like zero.
Yeah.
Zero sports.
You know that when I was there and I was teaching, and I was involved all the time, nobody from Laredo really went to go see the basketball. Nobody went here. Nobody went there. The morale was very low. Like I'm telling you, the morale was low. And it was sad to see, because we had a bunch of kids that had still scholarships over there. We had kids that were from other countries that were there playing volleyball, and nobody would go watch their games. Understand what I'm saying? So Laredo wasn't supporting. So I don't know what the reason was for them to remove it. I have no idea. And I think that it's something that we need to find out, whether was it physical, money-wise, able to have it? Was it something that was somebody didn't like to have it? Or was it something that was not bringing in sufficient enrollment to have it? And that is what we need to find out.
Right.
And if we can find out and see which way it is and bring it back, well, great, beautiful, right? But if that's what I look at. I look at. I think we need a lot of help, not only just at the college, everywhere. Okay. And we need to educate our kids. Number one, that as soon as they go into high school, and they're going to plan to go forward. We in the high schools, I think we're missing pushing them into a direction. You might have some kids that say, you know what, I'm going to go into the Army and then come back and go to college. I want to go get a vocation here, make some money, then I have to come over here. One thing you said was poverty. Laredo's number 10 citywide, number 10 city of poverty in the United States. Imagine that. We're number one. Land poverty, que sí poverty, que esto, que lo otro, but we're number 10 in poverty. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have all this.
Break the cycle. I tell students to break the cycle, because a lot of my students are very economically disadvantaged, and they think that that's the way of life. And I tell them the one way to break the cycle is to get educated. I come from humble beginnings. We weren't, well off. I lived on the west side, El Cuatro, La Ladriera, 1520 Grant Street. And yeah, we were, humble, we had the basics, And one of the things that my grandmother always taught me, because I was born and raised with her and my grandfather, and she's the one that told me the way to break the cycle. She was a stay-at-home. It was, that civil rights, my grandma was like, break the cycle, you don't need to live this way and get it, the way to do it is get educated. I tell the students the same thing. Like I said, there's a disconnect, there's some help that, like you're saying, right, on both. The high school needs to do their part, and which we do, or at least I do. I can't speak for all the principals in all the high schools, but I can speak for myself. I'm always, I think they probably think I'm a garrapata, like always calling on them. And that's where I see that it's not their service, is the personnel that come to my school. They're just stretched thin, that they're, and they're like, okay, we gotta go to another school, or we can't until this day because we've got all these days booked. And so really, like I said, thousands and thousands and thousands of juniors and seniors in any one given year. If you have a small, tiny department in any one of those that I mentioned,
if there's 1,000 per high school here, give or take, except San Agustin, right? We give 1,000 per each of all the high schools that are around, and then this, and
that's why I said juniors and seniors.
7,000, 10,000 kids are graduating per year. Yep. And we need to make sure that we're adjusting to them correctly. And we need to find out too, we need to teach our kids, and I'm with you. There's a lot of kids that do not have the money. We have to help that out. The scholarships have to come in as well too. See which scholarships we can grant them, and see which scholarships we can get. Just like here, we give a lot of scholarships for kids that don't have. They come in here and train. And from here, I just tell them one thing: you want good grades. Got good grades, you lose. You've got some kids that started off with D's and F's, and now they're B's. That's a great advantage.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then people say, oh no, not all of them are going to be honorable.
You don't have to be.
But you just have to make sure that they have that discipline for them to push forward. And that's what you need. And I think, like I'm telling you, that, I worked at the college, and I saw the way it was, and I saw the difference in the attitude, and I saw a growth spurt. And I don't know, Ms. Ramirez, I've just seen what it's going, and you're like, there's a different attitude, and it's a different attitude. It's an attitude for let's move forward. And so tell me, what else would you see that you say, this is something that I really want to change. I see that we need to go this route.
Well, like I said, the one place that I do take all my students is to the vocational programs, and I think that we can offer more. I mean, there are certification programs, there are vocational programs, but I think you mentioned it earlier, there's so many more that we don't offer. And I think maybe providing more opportunities, providing more avenues, different, it's limited, or the students are limited to choosing the certifications that they have currently. Well, let's not only enhance the ones that exist, because I do believe that they need to be properly equipped with the latest, technology. I mean, we're always going to need the trades, always. They're never going away. But I feel like every year that I take my kids, the programs, and I'm not talking about the nursing program, I'm talking, like plumbing, welding, refrigeration, auto mechanics, diesel mechanics, I can go on and on. The ones where I take them to electrical, there's all sorts of. I just feel like we can do more for those departments, because we're always going to need those vocations. They're not going anywhere. So enhancing the ones that currently exist, and then introducing new ones that, like you mentioned earlier, that why don't we have this, that might pique the interest of other students to want to go there. Absolutely. So, I mean, yes, it's going to take, of course, personnel. You're going to have to hire personnel,
sure.
Maybe other equipment for whatever other certification that requires, but let's study, let's review what are the trends, what is popular with students right now. It's a different generation right now. And so it's something that I would want to look at and see how the budget is being distributed, and see how we can reshuffle some money to maybe enhance and improve the current, and then add some based on, our student population, our feedback.
Where we're at for the
Yeah.
No, you're correct. Sometimes we look at things like there's a lot of vocations, like you said. There's a lot of vocations that are still out there, and we have to enhance them. But right now we're at a point in time that we're losing our kids to going out of town. And sure enough, a lot of people left. I left. We left out of town. Some people stayed out of town. Some people come back. But we have to realize one thing is, if we do not have the jobs, those vocations aren't going to be around. Understand? For example, we have no manufacturing jobs. We have to start producing. We have to start bringing in. So it's the city needs to move, and the college needs to follow. And the college needs to move to bring in this,
Yeah.
And it's a catch-22, because a lot of for example, let's go into electrical. It's a lot of construction going on. Okay, we need electricians. Okay, we better start teaching them correctly how it is. Okay,
A lot of construction. Yeah.
you need to teach. There's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of trucks, diesel trucks. That's an excellent. Okay, but how about stuff like media? How about stuff that with computers? How about video camera? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like event planning. Stuff that other people can get in certificates, like you said.
Right.
They need to push that.
Yes.
We need to push it. We need to push it because we have great talent here in Laredo. We got great individuals here. And how can I put it? To me, we're shooting ourselves in the foot, but not pushing that foot.
Yeah, we need to grow our community. This is my future. This is our future. Our kids' I think we need to build a city. Our city's growing, but are we growing with the city? Are we educating, our youth as the city is growing and preparing our city? Like, I think we need to grow our own and give them the opportunity. And I know you mentioned earlier about, some of the sports, and not a lot of people would come and watch. And that I heard you mention that there was athletes from even different countries and even different cities. We have so much talent here. We have so much talent here. Let's become competitive in the scholarship offering to keep our kids here, and that would bring in people. Because I don't know, right? Back then when you're talking about the time when you were there, athletes from different parts. But I can tell you that if all the athletes from here went, to college and built, the different sports programs from all the high schools, we have star athletes. Competitive scholarships would take them there. And you know what? You're going to have the community. You would have all their parents and grandparents and tios and tias and everybody going out there.
I see your point. I got a full scholarship to go train overseas for a sport that we introduced here. This is the first school of Sabat here in the States. We passed it at the Texas Educational Department. One time, it was LCC back then. It was one of 5 colleges in Texas that was teaching it. And all of a sudden it just died off. Once the war started, Afghan and the Iraq war, they just shut it down because we lost a lot of that age group, that competitiveness, right? We lost a lot of people. But in the past, there were scholarships for boxing. I know a lot of people that went to school because of a scholarship for boxing in Corpus Christi and Kingsville.
That's
I don't know
growing
what-
big time here in Laredo. Why don't we
Laredo,
have that?
You know what I'm saying?
Why don't we have
So,
that? You know,
it's-
that's another one.
You know, that what I'm trying to say is the sports that we have to bring in the people behind it. Like you said, baseball. I think we should have an outlet towards that. But we need to find out why it was removed.
Right,
Was it removed because of financial
right.
issues? Was it removed because somebody didn't like it and pushed it? You know, because all of a sudden you get clicks inside the boards and a different story. And you don't want to put clicks inside any board because what else? They'll shoot it down.
That's
You
one
know
of
what
the
I'm saying?
things also that I'd like to change. I mean, this is purely public service.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not supposed to get paid for it. There shouldn't be any self-interest.
Are you kidding? Are you being paid now?
Oh, no, I'm not in there
No,
yet.
no, no, but if you're in there do they get paid?
They're not supposed to get paid. Now, I don't know if they're finding ways, you know, through, I'm gonna make this up, let's say, they get.
So they're not getting paid,
Like,
so.
let's say they get a travel fund or a stipend for travel. I'm making it up.
But, you know, we don't have to make it up. The problem is if they're getting a stipend from the college to go someplace, well, that's okay. But if you're getting money for something else to get a contract, that's a different story. And that right there that's a different entity. You know, they say the college, I'm gonna send 4 of the board to go study this over here because this is going on. I see that perfectly fine. But if you have a law firm or somebody saying, you know what, I'm going to give you money for me to get the next tax contract. No, I'm sorry. You know, that's a little bit off the thing. Or here's this money for you to get the next insurances for everybody who come to my company. And here's, you know what I'm saying? Those are things that.
And that's why I'm saying that there should be a little more transparency when it comes to the decisions that are being made and how the money is being shuffled, right? How it's being allocated. I don't think, I'm going back to the public service. So public service means you're there, you're supposed to be there with a heart of servitude. There should not be any self-interest. No, this is an educational entity. Are you there for the kids? Are you there for the students? Are you there to better our community? Are you there to educate our students and better our city? Because by educating our students, we're going to better our city. It's a ripple effect. And so are we doing that or is there a board? And I'm not saying that there is. Is there a board that's looking more self-interest or doing things like, like what you mentioned earlier, like kickbacks and absolutely, that's not.
And let me put it to you this way. Is there any, nobody wants to talk about this, but the way you, because everybody always kind of hints and this and insinuates, and the only way you can stop that grifting is by putting term limits. And it's gotten to the point now across the United States that 2 term limits is not enough. I think we have to go to the extreme of 1 term limit. You did your part, now go back to your whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying? And I think
Can I interject?
Sure.
So that's huge what you're saying, but this is even like bigger because the term is 6 years. So imagine somebody does 2 terms, that's 12 years that you're governing. You're governing. That can make or break anything. And so that's another reason why I'm running, I kind of stuck to I don't know if you've seen any of the things that I've been putting out there. I'm very transparent, very authentic. I mean, you look at me right now, you think, oh, she's going to do a podcast. No, I'm coming from the corner of Calton and 35. I've been there since, I think it was 2 or 3 p.m. So I was out there for, actually probably long, I don't even remember, there for a long time. And I'm coming here all sweaty, it is who I am. I'm very transparent. And I think that's what we're lacking there. There needs to be some transparency. There needs to be less self-interest, and really what you're there for is public service, and do it with a heart of servitude, and do it for the right reasons. I also think that for an educational entity to have a board of 9, you don't have that anywhere else. Not even at the LISD or UISD boards or in the city council, you don't have that.
You have 8. Not, look there.
There was 7, right? But now there's 8, right? So it's growing. There's the Laredo's growing part. There used to be 7, but nonetheless, my point, right? So there's 9, but they're going to be there for 6 years, and then they get to run again. And so I think it also maybe I don't have any proof of this or anything like that, but it's common sense. Maybe robbing even other businesses opportunities to get in there. I mean, because you think of a college, how many?
What are you talking about, robbing another business?
So you mentioned like contracts. You mentioned like
favoritism, contracts, cronyism,
like kickbacks and stuff like that. And so if you have the same people there, then they're going to keep the same people that are servicing the college there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There isn't, if it's for the right reasons, the right, I just think 6 years is a long time, and you're right, 2 terms, 3 terms, 4 terms, I don't know.
I think it's throughout. Listen. I think, like I'm telling you right now, I've seen what the new president has done, and my hat's off. Done a great job. Okay. Now, that's just there. But if you look at the macro things in comparison to, let's say, our federal macro, right? A dysfunctional government. The city's dysfunctional. Look at what we have right now. We don't even have water. They're trying to get people from other cities. They're sending their special. How come we don't have our specialists here? You know what I'm saying?
And that's misuse of taxpayer money.
How come we're not bringing in? No, they're sending in their specialists over here. How come we don't have their specialists here? I mean, right now we should be asking who's going to be resigning next week. Okay.
So speaking
or who's getting fired? Let's talk about that.
So, but speaking of misuse of taxpayer money, so you have to hire people from the outside to come in.
I don't think they're firing. I think they're bringing them in like help.
Well, I'm going to talk about something that is true. So Laredo College has its own marketing department.
Okay.
And they have great people there. But they hired an external marketing company. Why? That's taxpayer money. You have a marketing department. And so that's what I meant earlier about let's look at where the money's going, reshuffle around, make cuts that maybe like, why are we paying for another external marketing company from a local marketing company, okay, when the college has an excellent marketing department? Right. So those are things to look at, and going back to the whole, one term, and here it's 6 years. I don't know any other entity here that has 6-year term. So
it's like TMU, they pick the board picks who there is that's in stuff. They pick whoever goes inside.
But the term of the board members, right, or city council, or LISD or UISD board, they're not there for 6 years. It's not a 6-year term. This is a 6-year commitment.
Maybe it should be a 6-year 1 term.
Right, or 4 years, or 2 years, and run again, or not.
Or I think right now, across the board, with all the governments, all across the board, term limits is something that needs to be pushed, period. From Congress, the U.S. Congress, Senate, all the way down. And it's gotten very abusive in a lot of instances. I'm not talking about the board here. I'm talking about in other areas, right? So that abuse of power that becomes, the longer they're there, the better grifting they become. I mean, I get it, it's business, and we really need to see who we're gonna place inside, who's gonna be voting for people inside, who's gonna be going inside. And people need to really study and research who they're running against, why they're running, all that stuff. And I tell people all the time, research your candidates. Research each one. Okay? Do I believe in ballot harvesting? Oh, yeah. Okay? Do I believe that it's going to happen? Nothing's going to be done about it. You know, they fraudulently caught people doing voter fraud last time here. Nothing's ever been done. You know, here in Laredo, in the Laredo City, Laredo election, nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Nothing happened that the Attorney General was going to do this or going to do that. Nothing happened. It's still running around. So they removed somebody. You know what I'm saying?
This is an important position because the person that I'm running against, she's been there she took over a term, she's been there, what, 8 or 9 years already? So she took over someone's term that didn't finish out, and then she ran. So she's been there 6 more, so total time there. So it's time for something new, and that's where I started, and then I forgot I didn't forget where I was going. I'm coming back to it. So, you know, it's been catchy, part of my slogan, if you will. It just started catching on because my last name, being Newsome, right? New and some in Spanish is algo nuevo. Yeah. And I love it. I just love it. So something new, some, algo nuevo. And I think that's what the college needs. And also, I'm an educator. That's what I studied. I got my bachelor's and my master's, and I even went all the way up to my doctoral studies, A&M College Station. Shy just a few hours I was already writing my dissertation, shy a few hours of finishing, and the only reason that I didn't is because at the time I was given the only academically unacceptable campus, and I dedicated my life to that school. Everybody that knows me knows my work ethics. I'm there for what I'm there for, and so there was no way at the time that I was gonna help fix the school, and I mean my whole job was to get it out of being, in trouble with the state, sanctioned, and still finish my doctorate. So that's where I stopped. I stopped at the very end, and there's a time limit, and so sometimes I wake up in the morning and I kick myself in the butt, like, you should have just finished it, and why didn't you? And I know why I didn't, because I dedicated my time to my job, which was, let's help this school, let's help these kids, let's help this community. And I continue to do that today. And I just, again, why am I doing this? I think that the person that I'm running against, been there too long. And you're the president. And when you're the president, the buck stops with you. And you're the one that...
She's the president of the board.
She's the president of the board. Good. She's the president of the board. And the buck stops with you. You're the one that, is going to rubber stamp if it's happening. I'm not saying it is, but if it is, if stipends are being paid, yes, you're absolutely right. People need to get and need to go to conferences and get professional development. Absolutely. But how much is being given? But and this is the president would be the one that's signing off on all this. That's all I'm saying. I don't know.
That's what you think. So.
No, that the buck stops at the president. Sure, absolutely. I've been at both UISD and LISD as an educator. I was 27 years, and both the governing board, the LISD and UISD board. The board president, is the that's why they're the president, right? And so I just think that it's time for something new. Let's bring some stuff out. Let's look at it. There might be some things going on in executive session or maybe on an agenda, but then when we go into executive session, other things other than the general topic that was discussed in the agenda is not what's really discussed behind back door. So backdoor politics to me is not something that I'm for at all. Self-interest is not something that I'm for at all. I'm not anywhere, but especially an educational entity. I mean, to me, it shouldn't be self-interest. It should be about growing our community. It's supposed to be about educating our kids, offering a better college, a better opportunities, more to entice more kids to go. Streamline, facilitate the move from high school to college. Motivate them to come. I don't feel that energy anymore. Not when I was there. When I was there, it was like completely different. I know you didn't go there, but I went there, so I can say that. You walk there now.
I taught there, and I saw some very great kids, and some of them continue to still friends to now. Okay, some of them, became great law enforcement individuals. Some nurses, some doctors, some lawyers came out of. But they followed my classes were always full. Okay, so. I saw a difference. They wanted to learn, But then I would see things when the tournaments came in, or when the games came in, it was zero. I mean, there was no participation, not local, nothing. So I saw that kind of, you know what I'm saying? So I went down, and when you see that, it's kind of, you lose, and year over year, you see that for several years, kind of like your enthusiasm is lost. And I think that's what might have happened. And I don't know, maybe they weren't, I don't know the reasoning behind it.
I don't know either, but if it had anything to do with what you mentioned, that there's, players from outside of the country, outside of the state, outside of our city, we have so much talent here. Every year, we have more and more talent.
I'll put it to you this way: the talent has gotten better because people have placed it out there better. But when I was around from 2000 to 2010, yes, we had talented athletes. Don't get me wrong; we always have talented athletes. The enthusiasm of a lot of those sports wasn't around. It was because a lot of people got behind certain groups, and they themselves, of their energy, started producing a lot, like the baseballs and the pony leagues and the other leagues. It's because of those individuals that are inside those organizations that are pushing it forward. That's why we get into talent. But before that, it was kind of no. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
right
we had
now,
you have one after the other.
Enthusiasts, baseball enthusiasts like never before. Girls volleyball.
Right now it's a total different. Right now, what I'm telling you, it's in the last, I would say from 2011 to now. Mm-hmm. The young kids going into high school that were in elementary that are now in high school. Why? Because they grew with it.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely.
But from 90 to 2010, it was a different story.
But the eradication of all the sports programs happened under her time there.
Who's?
The lady I'm running against.
Oh, okay.
And so it was during this time. And that just happened just a couple of years
But did it happen during COVID, during the pandemic?
It probably happened right after that.
That's probably why,
And that might have played a part, but don't kill everything. I mean, again, I'm sure they're not.
How many, let me ask you this, how many junior colleges or community colleges have sports?
I don't know that answer.
That's something that we might have to look at. We have to compare. You know what? If all the other community college have sports in it, okay, then we can compete. Are we competing by a league that's only 2-3 people? Or are we competing by a league that is across the state? There's several leagues, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
I'm
so
sure there's a lot to look at. I'm not here saying that I know everything. I just know that we have, so I'm listening to the public, period. When I go and talk to people,
because they kill the sports. They kill the sports. Yeah.
I mean, whether they have children that played or didn't play, that it's important to the community. It really is right now. It's like you're saying, maybe it's a different vibe, a different culture, because of all of these leagues that start from the time they're chiquititos, you know? But
There's more opportunity, there's more growth, there's a different element. Yeah, so it's, we have to see that. We have to see, I think number one is find out how many colleges of this type of level, community colleges, have sports. Number one. And then second, find out what sports they have and what leagues are around us. But if say Tarrant County has a baseball and we have a baseball, but then there's no other ones in between.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Who are we going to be playing with?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we need to, so we really need, or we look into other sports.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
You know what I mean?
I know that the taxes, just like everywhere, right? So they've gone up every year for the last, I don't know, God knows, 20 years, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know
But-
why they don't hire an in-house attorney to do their taxing instead of bidding it out. I think that's something that we need to look into, you know, because that's a big role.
One of the things that I would want to look at is okay, so taxes, there's more money coming in. Taxes, what are we doing with that money?
Where's it going?
Where is it going? You know, and so I mean, there's just a lot of things. There's another concern of mine. So you spoke about morale when you were there, and I don't know, when were you there? What year were you there?
I was there 4 to 9 going on 10. Over 7 years.
But what's from 04?
From 04, yeah.
04,
About
okay.
9 going on 10.
Yeah, so
09, I think is when I left.
it's been a long time.
It's been a while since I was there, but it was, you know, I was there for several years.
So speaking of the morale right now,
We're talking about morale, the food. The teachers?
Faculty and staff.
Okay, how was the
Okay.
morale?
Now I can't speak for everybody. I'm only speaking
What you
for
heard.
the people that speak about it. It's down. The morale is down, and that's also something that I think it's important. Nobody should be working in a hostile working environment.
Is
And
it a hostile environment? That they're telling, why is it hostile?
There's some employees that have voiced their concerns about how it's hostile. I mean, hostile. One of the things that I mean, they've been told they can't even talk to me, for example, or they're going to get in trouble, and they're afraid of, you know, retaliation type stuff like that. But hostile, like discrimination even type of stuff. So for example, let's say you're an employee that has you know, some kind of, you know, speech impairment or some kind of medical, you know, with the documentation that the doctor says, hey, every hour, because of the nerve, you know, let's say you have an illness with your nerves, right? You have to be able to stretch, or, you know, because of the speech, there's, you know, something that's required. So there has been employees that have medical records that have gone and have been discriminated against, and then they get bullied.
Continue.
Oh, I was gonna say they get bullied to the point where it becomes hostile for them. Nobody wants to work in conditions like that. Those are issues that have been brought up to me as well. You know, I talk to people, or people will come and approach me and tell me, hey, this is what's going on. No, those are things that shouldn't go on in any workplace. It's against the law, number one. And I think people need to be sensitive and not and not only that, but not, you know, instead of stopping the bullies, you know, praising
is it
them
with-
or
so
giving them
is-
raises. That's not.
Is it one person or is it one place? Because, there's a lot of stuff sometimes.
No, I'll put it like this. It's different departments, different people, different ages. And it's not just, I'm not just talking about discrimination, it's just the morale. The hostility, the fear they feel, it's not. So again, we were there a good while back, right? But I'm talking about right now. I'm not saying that I've spoken to every faculty and staff there. No, I don't call them. I don't email them. This is just when I happen to run into people or
Sure.
they will look for me to tell me, hey, this is what's going on,
So you're running to change everything that's inside. You're
Those
running
are
to
things
change
that I
everything.
believe it's important. People need to be happy where they work because happy workers are gonna produce better. Happy people are gonna, and it trickles all the way down to the campus culture. It trickles down to the kids. So you got employees that are, again, I'm trying to, let's find ways on how we can increase the enrollment.
Which they're doing a great job.
Right, but I'm saying increase it more. The more you increase it, the more revenue there is. Okay? Increase it
Opening up more,
Right.
bringing in more programs,
Right,
locations, so on and so forth.
And then there's the flip side where you've got your employees also. You gotta take care of your employees. Your employees are happy and
They're not being taken care of, is there, besides what you told me? I haven't seen it, that come of age. Maybe because you're out there and campaigning and everything else, people are gonna approach you, you've seen that stuff. And I really haven't paid attention to that. I see them in some of the other schools, they come out and they say the teachers are this, there's issues. And in some of the other districts, you see that. So let's put it this way, we're in early vote. And what else do you think needs to happen right now that besides telling people to go out and vote?
besides telling people to go out and vote.
If they want to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
My number is on my Facebook page. My Facebook is public. It's been public since I created that page, and I created it because of the public office that I held as a senior and trying to get our five-year reunion going since then, or 10-year, whenever I created that page, and people told me, put your cell number, that's your personal cell number. I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything to hide. So people want to call me, they can, my number is on my, and it's my personal cell. It's on my Facebook page, Lizzy Newsome, just like that. I could share it right now, 251-4699. They can call me anytime. I do like to listen to people. And the other thing is I like working as a team. And I like, so if you're gonna come to me with a problem, I'll sit there and I'll listen, but I also tell people, come with solutions. So don't just come with a problem, bring solutions. What are some options and solutions? And also maybe I would want to, I don't know how divided and or united the board currently is, but definitely to me, that's important to have a united board. It trickles down. It'll trickle down to the employees because that's the governing board, even governing the school president. That's they're above the school president, and then from the school president to the faculty and staff, and to the faculty and staff to the students. So again, I'm starting from there, so it affects all the way down to the kids, and that's where I draw the line, and it affects the campus climate and culture all the way around. So uniting, I don't know how united or divided they are, but definitely having a joyful, motivated, nine-member board that's united, that's there for the kids, that's transparent, that's not there for self-interest. and is there really for the students and for growing our city and our community, that needs to happen. And I don't know if it is. I don't know if it isn't, but, you know, from the feel that I get when I go, because I also have a son that is currently in high school, and he's in the dual enrollment program. So I've had to also go with him or go to the college for him, and I also go for my own high school students. Even the ones that have graduated, they'll still reach out to me every year, like help me. And so there's something that doesn't feel right. And I'm doing it for the kids. I'm doing it for the kids that I service right now.
Absolutely.
And the kids that I'm going to continue to service, because I'm not leaving I'm not leaving, you know, it was funny because the first thing parents and students and even friends, well, you're not going to be a principal anymore, you're leaving? No, I'm not leaving my day job by no means. I mean, especially this does not pay. No. I'm doing it because that's what I love. It's what I see, what's going on right now, and I want to make a difference. I want to change that. It's that simple. I want to be part of the change. I want to be the change. New energy, you know, bring some new energy. And I also believe that in a board of 9 board members for an educational entity, you need to have people that are educators with the experience in education.
Not really. You need people in there that are both educators. You need businessmen that are
Correct. I'm not saying all 9.
No, you need all kinds, because you need to bring them all inside, and you need them from all spectrums to come inside and see which way we're going to be.
Right.
I was putting together a committee, which we have committees in several different things, so we've been on.
But you would agree that an educational...
I want it from the left to the right, and I want it from between, and I want because you don't want to get blindsided. You want to have everybody together working.
Oh,
and that's what you need to do.
Agree completely, but I am saying that, wouldn't you agree that in a 9-member board,
there's no educators inside? There were several people that taught in the past. There were several board members that were teachers, and some of them were professors.
Board members right now?
Yeah, Mr. Mercurio was a teacher for a long time. He taught, and so did Ms. Cantu. She taught. There were people there that taught.
Which Ms. Cantu?
Ms. Vela. Ms. Vela. She taught. So you had people.
And I don't mean any disrespect to...
I think they some of them taught and back then. And
but that's what I was going to say. When is
you know? So you know.
That's what I was going to say. So when did they teach?
No, they taught. So that experience brings it forward, right?
But when the times change, times change in education. When I started teaching, and the way school was then, even college, when I went to college, or when I started teaching in high school, I started teaching in one high, it's completely different. Times change. And so I feel that the board needs somebody that's current with education right now in high school, that literally works with kids that are going to the college. That I think I can bring to the table. That's something very positive that I can bring to the table.
Absolutely.
Not saying that you definitely need an array of everything else.
You need businessmen inside to be able to tell people. You need people that can negotiate inside there, or else you're going to be swindled out of a lot of money.
Absolutely.
You need to bring in people from all walks of life to produce the board.
Right.
Period. Once it becomes public servant, anybody can go inside.
Right.
And it's and some people might surprise you, but it's great that you're running. I believe that everybody that runs is, I thank them for standing up, because no matter who you're running against, once you put your name on that dotted line, you stood up for something that you believe is changing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Folks, if you're out there, continue voting. Early vote's already here. So, and bring your kids, and it's going to be a good one. That's what I'm doing. I'm taking mine for the first time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, and taking that route.
So, vote for me. And I look this way, right?
Folks, we'll leave you with this. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you. Till next time, much peace.
Thank you.